Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Chapter 24, verse 12. Eliezer goes on his mission to try to find an appropriate spouse for Yitzchak. Now, Avram has spoke with great confidence that God will bring success to Eliezer on his mission. And now in verse 12, Vayomar, Eliezer declares, Hashem Elokei Adoni Abraham Hakrina Lefonai Hayom. Hashem, the God of my master Abraham, please bring circumstances before me today, V'asei chesed im Adoni Abraham, and do kindness with my master Abraham. And now Eliezer proceeds to say that he's hoping that whoever, that a woman will come forward and offer him to drink, and that will be the sign. He's kind of calling his shot. He's telling God, if a woman comes forward to drink, that will be the sign that this is the one for Yitzchak. It's interesting when you think about it. Why exactly does Eliezer find the need to daven that God should do kindness for Abraham? Can't Abraham carry that burden on his own? And I mean, you see the thrust of what he's saying is totally about do kindness for my master Avram. Avram said it's taken care of. Avram said you're going to succeed. What does Eliezer think his prayers will add to the picture here? If you look at the Orach Chaim on Pasuk Yud Beis, Vayomar Hashem Hakrei, Batuach Haya Eliezer Ba'adono, Shetfilaso Mekubelas, Asher Ispalu Lishlach Malacho. Eliezer had absolute confidence in the merits of Avram Avinu, and Avram Avinu expressed a prayer that God will help him. And Eliezer had confidence that that would be successful. V'hosefhu lispal. So what then is Eliezer's prayer? Eliezer is davening that he should be the appropriate emissary for the prayers of Avram to come to fruition. Sometimes a person may daven and God might decide that the person deserves a certain positive result, but maybe the conduit is not the right conduit. So he davens to the God of his master. This is all about Abraham, but he says, bring circumstances before me. Let me be the one to play the role in Avram's prayers being answered. Vitam shehutzrach lasos seder zeh. Why did he need this whole complicated thing in the first place? The thing about who will come forward with the water. Ki chash luval yituhu mishpachas Abraham kisheyedu ki hu mitzuva ve'omed lokachas bas behem yitnu lo shivcha mishivchosam asher itam babayis v'yomru ki hi mizaram. You see, Eliezer knew what he was getting into. Eliezer was worried that Avram's family would try to play a trick on him. And in other words, he's coming to the store. It's very obvious that he's been sent to buy something. So they say, sure, we've got a great wife to give you for your master's son. And it ends up not even being a member of the family. So therefore, he decided to create his own litmus test before he would meet the family. And this is a great litmus test to see a person who's more interested in what they can do for someone than what they can get for themselves. The other advantage of this whole approach is once he meets the right person, he can ask her, so whose family are you from? Without it being obvious what the right answer is. So these are the two reasons the Orach Chaim suggests why Eliezer proposes this whole complicated system that he would find the right person as opposed to just knocking on the door of the relatives of Abraham. Okay. Verse 13. Behold, I'm standing by this spring of water or this well of no sun. And the women of the city are coming out to draw water. 14. The young lady that I say to her, please tilt your pitcher and I'll drink. The Amra should say, and she will say, drink. The Gam Gmalecha Ashke, and I'll also give your camels to drink. Oso Chachtali Abdechali Yitzchak. That woman you have proven to be the one for your servant Yitzchak. Voida ki asisa chesed im adoni. And then I will know that you did kindness with my master. Okay. And sure enough, he's just as he finishes speaking, a woman comes forward and offers him to drink, and it's great. Okay, now there's a very, very famous question on this parsha, on this section of the parsha, which is there's a prohibition of what's called nichush. Nichush is to try to tell the future or make decisions based on events. You know, if Scott, our Mincha Marav Gabbai, would say, whoever is the third person who comes in wearing a blue suit, that will be the one to daven mincha. That would be, and believing, by the way, that that's some sign from above that that's supposed to be the one who's supposed to daven mincha. That we're not supposed to do that. Now, isn't that what? Yeah, isn't that what Eliezer is doing here? I mean, it's very nice. It's a beautiful story that Chesed's so important. But I mean, he's basically making this whole convoluted thing. You say it's God, and this is how you'll convey to me that this is the right one. I should also mention that we'll reference it in a moment. There's a famous story in Navi with Yehonasan, the son of Shaul, debating whether to make an attack of the enemy. And it was also a whole convoluted thing that if he calls out to them and they say X, then that's a sign that he should come and attack. And if they say Y, then that's a sign that he should to flee. How does this work? If you look at the Sforno on Pasuk Yud Daled, Vayana Rosh Yeromari, Hispalel Sheyiyakach. He davened that this should be the case. Lo shesamach al nachash, v'chein haya b'Yehonasan ben Shaul. So the Sforno explains he's not saying to God that he's taking on as a given that whoever does that, that's the sign from above that this is the person. He's not saying that. He's davening. I think the way to say this Sforno is he's made a decision that this will be a good indicator of the kind of person that should marry Yitzchak. If it's a person who's a person of chesed. Now, it could be that nobody shows up. It could be nobody offers him to drink, in which case he's going to have to go back to the drawing board. It could be that a person comes forward and offers him to drink, and it's very obvious that she's not related to Avram. Then he's also going to have to go back to the drawing board. But he's got an idea as to what he's looking for. So he says to Hashem, please help me. This is what I'm looking for. Please make it that the thing that I'm looking for is fortuitous. And that if it happens, it's going to happen with the right person. But it's not that he's like telling the future or making strange decisions based on unique things. He's looking for a person who does chesed. And so he's just saying to God, I'm hoping that if the first person who seems to be right and fits all the aspects, I'm hoping that's the right person. I'm asking for your help in that. That basically seems to be how the Sforno was explaining it. Okay, let's go on to verse 17. Now, before we read 17, I just want to summarize again what Eliezer said the sign will be, or the condition will be. The woman that I say to her, please tilt your pitcher and I will drink. And she will say, drink, and I will give your camels to drink. Let's go to 17. Woman comes forward. She was, by the way, a beautiful woman. Vayara ta'eved l'krasa. The servant ran forward to greet her. Vayomer, and he said, Hagmi'ini na ma'at mayim mikadech. Give me to swallow some water from your pitcher. That's not what he said he would say. He said he would talk about tilting it. Hagmi'ini, by the way, he says, give me a little bit to drink. He didn't say he was going to say, give me a little bit to drink. This whole language of Agmini, let me swallow, it seems to be not really wanting to bother her with tilting the pitcher for him. Just kind of like, I'm just going to take a little bit from your pitcher. Is that okay? So he broke his own rules. 18, Vatomer Sheseyadoni. She said, drink, my master. Vat's Maher, and she acted quickly. Vatorid Kada al Yoda Vatashkeu. She brought down the pitcher and she gave him the drink. So she's doing very nicely here. 19, Vatchal Ashkoso. She finished giving him to drink. Vatomer Gam Ligmalecha Eshav Adam Kibu Lishtos. And she said, I'll also give your camels to drink until they're finished. So she clearly proves herself as being a person of chesed. It's really strange that he didn't ask what he said he was going to ask for. And she actually didn't exactly answer for what he was looking for either. If you look back at the earlier verse 14, he says, the woman will say, drink and I'll give your camels to drink. She didn't say at the beginning she was going to give his camels to drink. She just gave him to drink. And then once he was finished, now she says, I'll do your camels also. So for someone who has such a clear idea of exactly what he's looking for, it's strange this doesn't fit. I do want to mention this goes pretty well with the Sforno, by the way. In other words, if he saw this all as being some exactly divine sign, how could you deviate in the slightest? He's not seeing it as being a divine sign. He's saying he's going to use his common sense as to who's a Baalas Chesed, who's a person of kindness, and he's asking God that God should help him succeed in this method. So he does a little bit this way, he does a little bit that way, okay, but it's still surprising that he didn't even fulfill his own words. So see the Orachaim on Pasuk Yud Zay, Hagmi'inina, Hine himit mimashi hisna lisho. He asked for less than he said he would. Ki hu amar v'omar eleh hatinoch hadeich v'eshteh. V'ata amar hagmini perish lashon gemia. Not what he actually ends up saying is the language of I'm just going to swallow it. Gam amar ma'at. What he actually said is I'll swallow a little bit. Gam lo amar shetati kadolash koso kasher his. They didn't talk about her tilting the pitcher like he had originally said. Tamohu al pi divrei zal. The reasoning is based on the words of the Medrash. Shera'a sha'alu hamayim lekrasa. A famous Medrash that he saw that when she came out, the waters like came to greet her. V'simen zehu muvak she'enu matzah mibros haknani ki b'zera baruch v'kadosh ka'avram. That was a pretty telltale sign. That was like a sign that it must be from someone special, probably from Avram's family. Gam mazalo hereu ki hizos. So he was pretty confident that this was it, that she was the one, before there was anything of kindness, because the waters came to greet her. That's like a sign throughout Chumash. So now he kind of soft-footed the conditions now, because he was very frightened that if he made it too difficult, he'd miss out on the right one. They to know, him and his big ideas. Nobody told him to make these conditions. This was his own idea. And now he gets some sign from above, assumingly that this is it. So he didn't want to totally reject the plan that he had, but he made it as easy, as user-friendly as possible, so that it would be relatively easy for her to fulfill it. So we discussed this morning the Orachaim regarding what exactly Eliezer's prayer was. I mean, if Avram has great merits, what is Eliezer even davening for? We discussed the Sforno in terms of Eliezer's intention with the sign, and we discussed the Orachaim regarding why did he himself make a different proposal to her than he said he would. Any comments? Okay, everybody have a great day.